Hello, I'm Karina.
And I'm Jamie.
Welcome to As Told by ADHD. This podcast is a brainchild of two best friends with ADHD who share a passion for learning and a knack for finding the most fascinating tidbits of knowledge. Each week, we embark on a wild and hilarious journey of discovery as we dive headfirst into topics that pique our curiosity. From dark folklore to bizarre statistics, cultural ceremonies to famous dead people, we're here to entertain, educate, and tickle your funny bone.
This week on As Told by ADHD, I'm bringing you our final episode of King Henry VIII's wives. And I'm going to be talking about Katherine Parr. I know we're so sad because it's over, but I got some juicy history to tell you today. I guess it's sticking. I hate that I said it once, and now that we just say it, but it's fine.
History. And hopefully we're going out with a little bit of a bang because I'm sad and I just need some shock to feel alive.
Well, there is some shock. Okay, what do you know about Katherine Parr?
I knew from just from before, I was just like, oh, this is the one that was like best friends with Mary. I remember
That would be because they have 4 years difference.
Yeah, they're actually like kind of yeah. That's really all I knew. Because I didn't even know that Jane Seymour liked Mary as much as she did, and it was because of Catherine of Aragon. But still, so that's really all I know about her. So
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah. I knew absolutely nothing about her going into this. Well, I had watched like documentaries before, but like it was like full documentaries of all of them together, you know, versus like one by one, like deep diving into each of them. But yeah, she was the one I knew the least about. Like all I knew is that she survived. You know what I mean?
She was the survive one.
Yeah, which like doesn't make sense to me, but like whatever. Like
she just outlived Henry, really.
Yeah.
So yeah,
so that's what it means. Well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, she kind of did survive him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get to it. Let's get into her history.
History starting now. Yay!
So we have Katherine Parr. The spelling of her name varies. So it is either Katherine with a K, Katherine with a C, or Katherine. So I'm going to be saying Katherine the whole time because I think that's her given name. I believe her given name started with a C, which is crazy because in like history text, they put hers with a K to differentiate her from Catherine of Aragon, which is crazy because her given name was with a K. Anyway, it's all kinds of crazy. Anyway, so she was born around 1512 to Sir Thomas Parr and Maud Green. Thomas served as a close courtier to the young Henry VIII, and Maud was a lady-in-waiting to Catherine of Aragon. So they were all vibing in the court, right? And it is allegedly Catherine was named after Catherine of Aragon because the mother adored her so much. So,
wow.
Yeah. So
I did wonder why there were so many Catherines.
Yeah. Catherine was the eldest surviving child of this couple, meaning that there was miscarriages and stuff like that. Or miscarriages, or they had the kid and it didn't make it to adulthood, blah, blah, blah. That's very, very common in this era just because like healthcare is not what it is today, and you get it. So like I said, they were both very prominent in the Tudor court. But unfortunately, her father died around 1517. And this left her mother in charge of her education and her siblings' education, because I think she had several siblings. I know she had at least two. I didn't do too much research into her siblings because they're not a huge part of the story. Whereas, like, I felt like it was important for Anne of Cleves because she was very close with them and had to break those ties almost because she had to leave her country and blah, blah, blah. And then it was definitely important when it came to Anne Boleyn because everybody's sleeping with everybody, you know?
Yep.
So
That was wild. That was a wild story. Go ahead.
right. But her siblings weren't too prominent in this story. I just know that they were all kind of part of court. So, for education, it seemed like she was very well educated. She spoke multiple languages, such as like French and Italian fluently, by the way. And she also spoke some Latin and some Spanish. So, she's so super smart. She was also known to be sharp-witted. So, she was very quick with her responses. She also kind of was known to be interested in the study of medicine. Like, she didn't study medicine as in, like, becoming a doctor or a nurse or anything, but she was very interested in medicine in general. Since her mother was a widow at this point, and there wasn't a head of the house, she arranged a marriage at the age of 16 for Catherine. Luckily, there wasn't too big of an age gap. The man that she married was 21. His name was Sir Edward Berg, I think is how you say that. And her father-in-law, so this is Edward Berg's father, he happened to be a passionate supporter of the Reformation, which was the religious movement that separated church from the English, or that separated the English church from the monarchy, I guess. I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. He also, so the father-in-law was also a chamberlain to Anne Boleyn. So he spent a lot of time with her. But unfortunately, the husband, Edward, he was kind of known to be sickly, and he ended up passing away. We don't know why. We don't know what caused it. But he ended up passing away around 1533. That was about 4 years of marriage. So, what's a girl to do? Widowed at the age of early 20s. I don't know exactly what age. A girl is to be remarried.
Yeah.
Because mommy said so.
Yeah.
So she remarries in 1534. So not even a full year later. A man named John Neville, who was Lord of Litmere, I think is how you say that. He was a much older guy, so that's fun, but he had some huge estates. He was very powerful and very, very rich. She became a wife and stepmother to his children that he had. He had 2 children. I'm not sure of the logistics. He had 2 previous wives, both passed away, unsure of how or why they passed away. But he had 2 previous children, and then she became their stepmother. But this is where the drama kind of starts in her life. I mean, like, there's already, like, drama when you're a widow at the age of, like, 20. But, like...
Yeah.
This is... So, okay. Around 1536 to 1537, there was something called the Pilgrimage of Grace. Now, this was a massive, violent rebellion in northern England. thousands of Roman Catholics rose up against King Henry VIII because he was shutting down the monasteries. Remember back in Anne Boleyn's story, just as a little reminder, he separated the church from England.
I thought that he was separating them again. You were stressing me out.
No. So he separated them and then started to dissolve the monasteries. So all of this is like the same timeline. They're all alive around the same time, right? So this is just before she meets King Henry, right? So all of the Roman Catholics were so angry because not only was he shutting down the monasteries, he broke away from the Pope and he started seizing the church's wealth, which is another thing we talked about in Anne Boleyn's story. And so people were angry and people were rebelling and they were marching across Yorkshire with the banner of the 5 wounds of Christ. And they would force local noblemen to join their cause or face execution. So, guess who lived in this region at this time? Catherine and her old hubby. So, what's going to happen when the Roman Catholics who are rising up against the king, taking all the nobles, and like their goal was to get all the nobles to fight on their side so they could take them to the king to kind of negotiate but demand, you know? Like if they had all the nobles on their side, there wouldn't be issues. There would be less of a fight. Whereas like if it's just the poor people, you could just, and then you don't have to worry about it, you know?
Yeah, simple. Easy peasy.
What ended up happening was John Neville, he was taken by the rebels and he was like, okay, I'll go. Just don't hurt me. Well, some rebels stayed behind with Catherine and her stepchildren, kind of as like collateral in a sense, you know? And they sent him off to go talk to the king for them. Well, I don't know what happened or why they thought that he may turn on them, but they were like, John Neville, you get back here right now. We're killing your wife. We're killing your children. Why? I have no clue. I looked into it. I was like, what could have caused that? Don't know. Maybe they were just over emotional and being weird, trying to kidnap people and stuff. I don't know. But they didn't trust him. He obviously returns home immediately, right? And he's like, oh my God, what can I do here? And after some smooth talking, some desperate bargaining, political promises, he somehow convinced them to let Catherine and his children go unharmed. I'm not fully sure how all of it concluded. I just know that they were like, okay, whatever. But Henry saw him as a traitor. So John Neville, had to travel all the way to London and basically beg for mercy, beg for forgiveness, be like, I didn't want to do that. Like, I had to do it because blah, 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 XYZ. And so I guess that's how that concluded for him. He goes back home, and unfortunately, all of the stress and turmoil that he went through started taking a toll on his body, and his health declined pretty quickly, from my understanding.
I mean, the body's a fickle thing. Yeah.
Like stress, like if you don't take care of your mental health, then it's almost impossible to take care of your physical health, in my opinion. But that's just what I understand, because everything's connected. Like your body is one, you know? Anyway, so he ended up passing away in March of 1543, and that left Catherine very, very wealthy and a double widow at the age of 31. And that was 9 years of marriage.
I mean, I know that time frame, people literally could equate their lives to the lives of butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fleeting. Like, it was very common for you to be playing with a friend, and then the next day they're sick, and then the next day they're dead. And you're just like, okay, well, that's done. But it's hard to not think mentally, like, that's so crazy. That's wild, because we're in like a current, in the current world where that's just not really like an all well scenario. Like, when someone passes away, that's just like, I can't process this. It's going to take me days, months, like years. Like, it's not survival of the fittest environment anymore. So I feel like her life is moving like fairly quickly, like, for us, because she's thrown into like an adult environment. There's war, there's rebellion, there's horrible people. So like, what I'm most curious about is who she is as a person from this to when she meets the king.
Well, it's not very long after this that she meets the king, but she meets somebody else first. Her second husband was on his deathbed when she meets a man that she falls head over heels with. Now, she's been going back and forth from court to like home fairly frequently because she has 2 siblings that are in court. So she has William Parr and Anne Parr, who are a part of court, who hang out with the king and the princesses, and they're just having a great time. And it's also around this time that Katherine becomes pretty close to Mary. And she starts to like kind of like hang out at her house all the time. And like, she's just vibing,
Mm-hmm.
Well, William, her brother, introduces her to a man that we know all too well, Thomas Seymour. And she falls hard, okay? And they're going to have a secret wedding, and it's going to be really great. But wait, King Henry sets his sights on Katherine, and he's like, you're my next wife. And you can't say no to the king. You just can't. Especially in this time period. At this point, Henry is 52 years old, severely obese. You're right. Severely obese, has a rotting ulcer on his leg that stinks really badly. And like, I read several places that you could smell him coming from like down the hallway. Like, you'd be like sitting, imagine you're like a little like court maid, and you're like scrubbing, like, what is it called when you're doing like thing on silver, you're polishing it.
Polishing?
Maybe, I don't know. You're doing that and you're having a great time because you're in the castle, whatever. And then you smell this putrid smell, and you're like, that's the king. He's walking right down that hallway. He's about to be here. It's getting stronger. Gross. Okay?
Ew.
So, he has his rotting leg ulcer, and he is traumatized by the execution of Catherine Howard. So, he wants a calm, mature, compassionate wife to nurse him as his stanky ass leg is stanky. I don't know.
Ew.
He decided to put everything aside and be like, I need someone to take care of me. Because at this point,
And
I feel
because
like
she had a thing with medicine.
yeah,
a curiosity
which
in
I don't know if he
medicine.
knew that. I think maybe that was just a coincidence. I don't know. But I believe that he wanted someone to take care of him rather than like producing an heir, but he also wanted more children. So Don't know how that's physically possible when your leg is rotting off your body, but I don't know. July 12th, 1543. They marry at Hampton Court Palace, and she becomes wife number 6. 3 months after her second husband died.
Oh my gosh. How old is she again? Do you know?
At this point, she was 31. Yeah, so she's 31 still. She gets married at Hampton Court Palace in a room known as the Queen's Closet. And it's not an actual closet. It is like a room that it's like an elevated private royal pew.
Okay.
Only 20 people attend it.
They're tired of these weddings.
Honestly, yeah. Yes. So, we know that he called her sweetheart at their wedding. Gross. And he also, like I said, hoped that she would produce a son for him. Gross. And also, she has no children of her own at this point. All 2 children that she had were stepchildren. So she has no children of her own.
Did the king know that she was married twice before because Catherine Howard had secrets?
He fully knew.
Okay.
Which, like, maybe that's why he chose her. I mean, this is me, like, theorizing. This is not, I did not find this information anyway. This is me just, like, off the dome, you know? Maybe because she had her first husband who was sickly and she took care of him. Maybe he was like, oh, she can take care of people. And then also, second husband, towards the end, he was very sickly because it, like, the stress took a toll on his body. She took care of him and took care of his children. So he probably saw her and was like, okay, she's been married twice before and she can take care of people and she could take care of me and my children and, like, good deal for everybody, you know?
I feel like he was more so like, we have so much in common. I have dead spouses. She has dead spouses. We can talk about so much.
Oh my God. So, yeah. So that could be, both of those theories could be true, maybe. I don't know.
They can be in tandem.
As a married woman, as a married queen, she ended up adopting a personal motto. To be useful in all that I do was her motto. That is really sad to me because, like, you're more than that, you know? Like, you're so much more than that. But, I mean, just looking at her past at this point, like, she's only ever been an accessory. She's only ever been someone to help others, someone to take care of others. So it makes sense that that's her motto, but it's sad. She knew exactly what she was signing up for. She knew that she was stepping into, like, a managerial role, and her job was to keep the king happy and to keep him alive. She knew that that's what the job was.
Okay.
But that wasn't all that her life was in the palace, because Catherine was known to be obsessed with shoes and fine fabrics. There were financial records from the royal household that showed she ordered dozens of custom pairs of velvet and leather shoes.
You know what? As she should.
As she should.
She should own it all. She's been through a lot.
Exactly. She imported Italian silks. She even had Henry's jewelers rework Catherine Howard's old royal jewels into her own wardrobe. So even though it's kind of like, you know?
Well, no, he showered her. She had so much of that crap left over, bro.
Yeah. It was probably just, like, recycled stuff from her. And, like, if it were me, I'd probably be like, I don't want to keep this the way it is because that reminds me of her, which like reminds me of my possible impending doom at some point because like I step out of line, I'm gonna die. You know? She also loved music. She filled the court with musicians and she even learned to play the lute. She was vibing hard.
She was like, if I'm going to be married to old stanky leg over here, I might as well make it useful.
Mm-hmm.
To the old stinker.
She was also known to be an amazing stepmother. The stepmother of the century, some people say. So she had a very deep friendship with Mary. Like we said earlier, only a 4-year age gap. So not too hard to be friends with someone that's 4 years younger than you, you know? Also, Elizabeth was roughly like 9 or 10 when Catherine became queen. Catherine ended up bringing Elizabeth out of exile in the countryside and ended up bringing her back into court to keep her close.
That's cool.
And right. And it was said that Catherine was a huge role model to Elizabeth. Like, I think there were some texts where, like, when Elizabeth was eventually queen, like, she modeled herself after Catherine. Like, as a ruler. Catherine also was the only mother that Edward ever truly knew. And he adored her. He would address her in his letters as my most dear mother, which is so sweet. And she loved playing cards and gambling with her stepchildren.
See, that's the story I know the most because I didn't want to get like into it, but like Mary had like quite the gambling addiction.
Fair.
So, and that was she would be betting a lot of stuff against Catherine.
And I bet Catherine was winning too because Catherine was smart.
She lost. Mary lost all the time.
She is the reason, some people think the sole reason, that Henry officially restored both Mary and Elizabeth's line of succession. So without Katherine Parr, neither of those women would have been queen. I mean, I'm sure that they would have found a way, but they would have had to fight so much harder than they did.
Mm-hmm.
So, not only was she a good stepmother, was she having a great time in court, she took over when Henry went to invade France. And she was in charge of the entire country. And she was managing war finances, royal proclamations, and she ended up proving herself to be someone who could run England on her own, which is why Elizabeth eventually would model herself after Catherine, because there was, like, she had so much responsibility while Henry was gone to France. And she became the first English queen and the first woman in England to publish an original book in English under her own name. The book was called Prayers and Meditations, and it was a 60-page Christian devotional designed to guide the reader through spiritual reflection and internal prayer. So she's doing great things, okay? She's having a great time. She's thriving at the palace. But where there's a woman who is thriving, there is a man trying to tear her down. And it's always a man. It's always a fucking man. Sorry, I'm so mad about it. Sometimes it's women, but there's always a man.
There is. And our stories is a prime example. Yes, the woman was doing some crazy stuff, but guess who was behind her? Like, you go, girl. Yes, this is the way to go, period. Like, men. Okay.
Yeah. So, a little bit of background of what I'm about to tell you. Catherine was secretly a passionate Protestant reformer. She wanted the church to be reunited with England. obviously not a great thing in this time period because King Henry wants to be all-powerful God in his mind, I guess. I don't know. She was also known to debate with Henry. Not only debate with Henry, but like she loved debating him over theology, and it seemed to keep him entertained. Like he seemed to really like it at first. But like I said, there's sneaky snakes always trying to tear women down. So Henry's health was fading pretty quickly, right? Everybody knew that it was only a matter of time because that leg was getting stinkier by the day. And guess who's next in line for the throne? A 9-year-old boy named Prince Edward. So because Edward adored
Sorry, I just had a
Catherine.
realization. I'm sorry.
What?
Oh.
No, you gotta tell me.
No, I think I know where this story is going, and I am not ready.
It gets bad.
Ready. Yeah, because Edward is under whose control?
Oh, it's not going that direction. It's somebody else.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so Catherine was in favor with the prince. He loved Catherine. That was his mother. Like, that was his dearest mother. And unfortunately, the conservatives desperately wanted to eliminate Katherine Parr to prevent her reformist ideas and her Protestant network to gain control. So, and by conservatives, I mean not the Roman Catholic conservatives. I don't think, maybe it was the Catholic conservatives. It's just people who didn't want her views to be what the prince pushed. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because once the prince becomes king, he's got final say. So they need to get him under the control of somebody else, is what they want, right? So there is a man named Bishop Stephen Gardner. He is a conservative Catholic faction, and he gets annoyed that the queen is preaching to the king. And obviously, when you're in a lot of pain, you're a little more grumpy than you usually would be. So even though Henry seemed to enjoy the debates, sometimes he might get a little annoyed and snap at her because he's in pain. Ouchie. My stinky leg stinks. I mean, if your leg was stinky and hurting, wouldn't you be grumpy?
Yeah, like, ow, it stinks.
Ouchie. Well, Gardner uses this as an opening, and he drafts an arrest warrant for heresy for Catherine. And he convinces Henry to sign the arrest warrant. And this was because he was telling the king that she was trying to reform Protestant views into the kingdom. Like, from what I understand, I believe that it was like a crime to go against the king, and for her to be pushing those types of views in this time period was to go against the king completely.
Everything is treason.
Right. So this allows them to search her rooms and question her ladies in waiting and arrest her for heresy. Now, didn't go quite as planned. And I think it was because everybody loved Catherine. Everybody loved her. So, a copy of the signed arrest warrant mysteriously appeared in the palace corridor near her quarters. We don't know who put it there, or if it was an accident, or if it was dropped. We have no clue. But it was there. And one of Catherine's reformist allies, or one of her ladies in waiting, found it and brought it to her immediately. Now, around the same time that this is happening, Henry summons the royal physician, Dr. Thomas Wendy, to come tend to his horribly aching leg, Stinky.
Ew. Gross.
And he ends up confessing, hey, I got this secret plot to arrest my wife because she's trying to go behind my back and do stuff. Because that's what the other guy told him. Because, of course, it wouldn't be a King Henry VIII story if he wasn't manipulated somehow.
Yeah.
So, and this is kind of like this is how I think she survived, is because it gets crazy. Anyway. So, Dr. Wendy actually had Protestant sympathies and was also Catherine's doctor. Okay? Connections. Catherine collapsed into a severe screaming, hysterical panic attack. She was not okay because she just got word. She got the arrest warrant that she is about to be arrested for heresy, and once someone has decided that you are a problem and you need to go, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, you're gone.
You're gone. So she was unwell. Just think about, she's probably thinking oh my God, there were 2 other women who were executed. The punishment for this type of crime is to be burned at the stake. I'm gonna die. Right?
Oh my gosh.
So,
yeah.
Henry is in his chambers, which is near her chambers, and he hears the cries and screams and sobs. So he sends the doctor over to see what's wrong, to tend to her, to see if it's something medical, I guess. I don't know. And unfortunately, the doctor confirms her fears. He told her something that probably saved her life. He says, you must go to him, completely submit to him, and make sure to comfort his ego, which gross, but saves her life. I'm telling you. So she gathers herself. She takes a moment. She collects everything, and she's like, okay, ladies, to all of her loyal bitches, right? Ladies.
Okay, now
she's like, get rid of anything in this apartment. Anything that could be used against me. Get rid of it. So that's any evangelical books, that's any forbidden vernacular translations, that's any reformist pamphlets. Get rid of it all. Once she calms herself down and gives those orders, she goes straight to Henry's room. And he attempts to bait her into debating him about religion, but she plays it cool. She plays this totally submissive wife. She, in several things that I read, it states that she said verbatim, I'm just a silly poor woman. And she probably told him things like, oh, my judgment is so inferior, and a wife has to look at her husband as the guide and the end all be all, and maybe stuff like, I only debated you because of your superior intellect. I wanted to learn from you, or maybe I just wanted to distract you from your leg. I don't know. Whatever she said, it fed his ego and it restored it. And they were on good terms. So whatever was said in that little room that they were in, they were fine now. But he either forgot or maybe on purpose didn't inform the men that were responsible for the arrest warrant. And the next day, the 2 lovebirds, I don't know if they were lovebirds or not, but they went walking in the garden on his stanky leg.
I was like, he's still walking on it?
He's still walking. I don't know how. I know. So Lord Chancellor Thomas Wriothesley and his guards came to take her into custody. But they didn't know that they were on good terms again, and Henry flies into an unspeakable rage and starts yelling and screaming and just ripped the Lord Chancellor Thomas Risley a new one. Called him a knave, which, like, I had to look up what a knave was because I've heard it before, but I was like, what is a knave? Apparently it's like a tricky man. It's a tricky guy. Apparently that's what it is.
This guy has a mental state of a 5-year-old, I swear. Okay, go ahead.
I know. But Katherine is safe. She's safe. But not everyone came out of this unscathed. There was one of her very loyal friends, Anne Askew. She was completely open about her radical Protestant beliefs. She had abandoned her abusive Catholic husband and moved to London and preached openly in public spaces and actively distributed forbidden evangelical books and writings. So she's already in hot water, but she's pretty well connected to the Queen. And whoever was against Katherine knew that. They didn't want to alert Katherine that they were after her, right? So they went for this woman who wasn't a lady in waiting, so it wouldn't have been too suspicious because she's out there openly trying to preach reform, which is against the king, you know? So she ends up getting arrested a few months before Katherine's arrest warrant. So this is a few months before the story I just told you. And she was tortured for weeks, for days, for hours, for months, for a long time. And they tried so hard to get a confession that the Queen was guilty of heresy, but they chose the wrong woman. She was not about to give up her friend. She was not about to give up the Queen. And even though she was tortured within an inch of her life, she never said anything that could be used to incriminate the Queen. And she died by burning at the stake. And she was so badly beaten that she was unable to walk to her death. She had to be carried. So, even though Katherine was fine physically, if I was her, having to carry that emotional baggage of this person went to their death holding my secrets, keeping me safe, that would destroy me. And just from the type of person that Katherine seems to be, it seems like it would have upset her. Like, I mean, I could be completely wrong. Maybe she was an awful person, but from what I've read about her, I think she would have been very upset by that. So, things are good for a little bit, but on January 1547, King Henry VIII finally dies, and Katherine survived 3.5 years of marriage. Katherine moves into Chelsea Manor. Elizabeth moves in with her because Katherine becomes her sole guardian.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when she finally can marry the love of her life, Thomas Seymour. And within months of Henry's death, might I add, Thomas Seymour ends up coming to live with Katherine and 14-year-old Elizabeth. Now we still hate Thomas Seymour. Let me tell you why we also hate him. So, he's a snake, but he acts completely inappropriately with the very young 14-year-old Princess Elizabeth. He goes into her bed, tickling her. He would walk around and rip her dress. He would slap her butt. She's 14 years old, and you're a dick. Anyway, a pervert. Hate you.
What did Katherine do about this?
Well, at first, Katherine initially joined, thinking it was just horseplay, but later she ended up catching them embracing And she ends up sending Elizabeth away to protect Elizabeth from him.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, like, I mean, could be seen as, like, I'm choosing him over her, but, like, also you have to think about the time period of, like, well, like, I married this guy, so, like, what can I do, you know?
Yeah.
Thomas.
Thomas Seymour had a lot of power at that time.
Yeah. Catherine ends up getting pregnant for the first time in 1547 at the age of 35. She gives birth to a beautiful baby girl named Mary Seymour, named after her best friend. Cute. But she dies 6 days later from childbed fever. Katherine Parr was buried in St. Mary's Church. And that's the end of her story. And the end of Henry's wives.
That's the end. Wow.
Wild ride with Katherine Parr. I was not expecting that at all.
I was not expecting her to have several husbands. I was not expecting her to fall for Thomas Seymour.
Maybe he was hot.
Disgusting. No, Thomas Seymour had the makings of being a really bad cult leader.
Oh, that's probably why she fell for him then.
Yeah, I think it was charisma, to be honest. They're very suave and persuasive. I honestly think that's what that was. I'm so happy he gets executed later. But I had so much fun with this miniseries. Like, of course, doing all the episodes and stuff like this with Jamie is like really, really fun. But like, there's like just something special about this topic, this miniseries. Like, I gained a whole new appreciation for history when it is preserved because it's relatable, it's hilarious, it's angering, it's
telenovela.
It's literally the inspiration for telenovelas. Like,
she was sleeping with his sister or her sister, or he was sleeping with her sister.
Exactly.
Crazy stuff.
Exactly. You had previous lovers? He showed up at your door? Like, just there was so much. But I do genuinely think I have a new appreciation for what history can tell us because you don't expect history to be relatable. Like, no. Yes, you do, but like to an extent, you're not going and looking at history to be like, you know what? I'm going to find somebody who's like me in all of my petty little issues in this current state of the world, right? You don't do that. I mean, you're expecting to see something stoic and regal and like barbaric and stuff like that. Not just like, he was sleeping with his sister? What? Bridgerton? Like, what?
Right. Well, I mean, if you think about the reason why Shakespeare is still so prominent today is because of the relatability. Like, even though it's in Old English most of the time, it is very much, oh, I'm in love with this person who doesn't love me back, or this person's in love with me and I don't love them. I love this person,
Yeah.
Or I love this person and they love me, but we can't be together. You know?
Yeah.
So that's why that's so relatable. It's because humans are humans at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And we're going to have the same problems.
I've enjoyed it so much. I want to do another one. I want to do something else. We're going to do something else. We'll probably space it a little bit, maybe.
Probably.
Probably.
But like, okay, guys, if you have any ideas of a good little mini series that we can like do a deep dive in that's similar to this, maybe like, because like everybody knows the Tudors, but like, was there like another region of the world that had something similar? Or like, give us the tea, give us the drama, give us the everything. So
I want all of it. I want all of it.
Yes. Well,
And what have you been doing nice for yourself?
me? Well, you girl, who is chronically ill if you're new here, got her infusion on Friday. So she's feeling a lot better after sleeping 12 hours that night and then 12 more hours the next night.
Yeah, she slept a lot.
Yeah, I slept a lot. I feel a lot better. You should have seen me 2 days ago. I was like,
Yeah,
it
towards
was
the end
rough.
before an infusion, she starts dissociating 24/7. She's just a walking zombie.
It's because, I don't know if you've ever dealt with chronic pain, but man, it's a bitch. It's like
Mhm.
brain numbing. Like, you can't even, think. Because you're sitting there and you're like, I'm just in pain. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. It's crazy. But I got a lot done today.
Yes,
which is great.
ma'am. Period.
Yum.
And I raced in here after work, so I forgot my water. But drink your water.
I cannot believe this.
I know it's on the counter, but drink your water. Do it right now. Take a sip. Take 2 sips. If you're capable.
Believe this.
I know.
If you're capable.
Trust me, I drank my whole 40 ounce while I was at work, and I'm probably going to do that after because I am about to eat and I just chug water while I'm eating. So it's just what we do. I'll have plenty of water, I swear. You know what? I'll make it even extra. I'll be so good to myself, I'll drink extra water. That's what I'm going to do nice for myself.
Okay, but that's not being nice to yourself. That's just doing what your body needs. So what are you going to do nice for yourself?
Well, I just got married. And she just got married or whatever. So I'm going to hug my new hubby. And cuddle him because that makes me happy right now. So, yeah.
Cute.
She's married. Okay. But yeah, enough of the sappy. But that's what I'm going to do. And my father got us a wedding gift and got us these really nice rocking chairs for our back porch. And he put them together while he was here. And so I'm going to go out there and I'm going to sit with him and we're just going to talk about everything and nothing because that's just what we do.
Cute.
Thanks.
Also, before we let you go, guys, I just want to apologize. Occasionally, we may miss episodes, usually because I'm chronically ill and I physically can't do it. But we'll always come back and we'll always bring you the history tea.
History tea. That's what we do.
So, have a great day, a great week, a great weekend, a great time, a great month, great year. Have just great time. This is great stuff.
Do good things. Do great things. Just great.
Okay. You ready?
Goodbye. See, my voice hasn't been wanting. I have a high-pitched voice. It's not wanting to go up. Okay. Goodbye. Goodbye. Hi. I lost my confidence. I'm sorry. I'll be more confident next week. I'll be confident next week. Okay?
Yeah, you will.
I will. Period. Goodbye, guys.
Bye, guys.